Hi everyone, I'm Dan Stephen and I'm a partnerships manager at Google. I've been working in the apps industry for over 6 years in a range of roles. So if you can't tell from my accent, I'm Australian. I apologize if things that I say are not very easy to hear. Sometimes I say the wrong word, but that's just me. I used to work in finance where I managed the strategy for a large online stockbroker and took their company digital. Then I moved across to Google and was working on the ad mob side, so helping game developers like yourself in the Australia-New Zealand region monetize their app before moving over to the US and helping form the gaming team. So my team currently partners with developers and advertisers like yourself to help you think through all of your growth strategies from performance, brand, influencer, all of those lovely things that you guys are thinking about. But why I'm here today basically is just to talk through a few things, and the title of the talk is Find More of Your Best Players Using Machine Learning. So I just want to recap, I want to cap what we're going to go through. So first of all, we'll quickly talk about the opportunity in mobile, especially in gaming. I know you've heard a lot about that today. Then we're going to talk about how machine learning physically changes a game for marketers like yourselves. And then we'll discuss how Google makes growth easy and how we can help you find more of your users who are of higher lifetime value. And if there's time, which I hope there is, we'll have Q&A. So let's get into it. In 2016, 82 billion apps were downloaded from the Google Play Store. That's just from Google Play, not even including the App Store. And that's why we're here today, because apps, and gaming in particular, is a big business. It's estimated that 70% of revenue from the iOS platform actually is generated by games. So that's a huge percentage. And Business Insider, and there's lots of articles out there, are suggesting that this business by 2021 will actually be circa $140 billion, which is huge. But with that huge size of a pot of revenue, the competition is heating up. In 2016, the number of developers with 1 million monthly downloads, or installs, sorry, grew by 35% year over year. And we expect that that number's actually accelerated in 2017. So the industry is clearly rapidly evolving. And the question now becomes, how do you, as game developers and marketers, put your game in the hands of the right user at the right time? With app campaigns, we know you want to target gamers that are going to spend money, but you need to find these players in a way that's profitable. So let's take a quick look at the discovery history, or the history of sort of app install. So in 2009, companies like AdMob, which Google later acquired, started testing putting apps in the App Store and ads in the App Store and in games. In 2011, app marketers were laser focused on, I've got the right slide up, yes I do. App marketers were laser focused on getting to the top of the charts, because getting to the top of the charts could propel your organics, which helped you become profitable. It basically was like get featured or buy your way to the top of the chart, and it could kind of make or break your business. 2014 came along, and we started seeing companies start to test around with targeting features that looked at demographics. So basically like lookalike audiences, who people were, how their demographics looked like your best players, and started to be able to target them. But in 2017, we're seeing leaders in the industry start to change this all over again. It's not about what a user looks like, it's about what a user actually physically does in your game. And so users are not coming in through the front door anymore. They're coming from multiple channels. And so how do you as a marketer make the most of that? So the traditional approaches, as that sort of history kind of outlined, just no longer cut it. If you're only looking at one-dimensional demographic data, it's not sufficient enough to help you find the wide audience that might exist for your game. rising consumer expectations, increasing competition, means that the approaches and tactics that used to work aren't going to work anymore. And we see this, and my team sees this with our partners as we've been trying to help them think about things slightly differently and make the most of this paradigm shift. Because creating a fun and addictive game, and acquiring just any old user doesn't cut it anymore. The spray and pray, I guess, as you call it, of app promotions that used to work to drive profits now actually statistically is driving net losses. And so this is where Google and machine learning actually come into play, and we think are a very beneficial tool for advertisers nowadays. It helps you shift your strategy because it allows you to do things at a lot more scale. By analyzing millions of data points in real time, the machines are able to make optimized decisions to improve your business performance. The machine enables you to do this at scale so that you actually, as a marketer, can focus on the more strategic jobs that are at hand rather than the mundane tasks of figuring out which placements worked, which placements didn't work, which keywords worked, which keywords do you want to exclude. And so basically machine learning is simplifying the marketing process for you. What you need to do as marketers now is determine the business objectives that you want to achieve and define sort of your qualified audience. For instance, like if you're a game, you may be looking for people who are whales, or you may actually just be looking for anyone that's going to make a purchase in your app, or even more higher funnel than that, users who are likely to complete a tutorial because it actually shows a willingness to sort of understand and learn the mechanics of your game. And so what is UAC and how does it help? UAC is essentially Google's unique machine learning capability manifest in a marketing format that you and all advertisers can simply use. It basically taps into one campaign, taps into all of Google's properties plus our third-party properties through AdMob. So you now no longer need to set up a search campaign, a display campaign, a YouTube campaign, and then you might actually be setting up multiple of those because you're targeting different geos or different demographics and you want to pay a different amount for each of these demographics and geos. And what we're finding is that advertisers that use our universal app campaigns are getting 140% more conversions per dollar than they were when they were using just standalone track one campaigns. This next picture basically helps you visualize the scale and breadth that you can get with a universal app campaign by tapping into the machine learning. Basically what you see here is ads that can serve on Google Play, on Google.com, in other people's apps, so through our AdMob network, in Gmail, and on YouTube. Now, 3 of these properties are the largest search engines in the world. So intent-based decision marketing, which is proven to be some of the highest quality, belongs here in the universal app campaign. So to be able to tap into it, we've really bundled that all together for you to make it really easy. And why does this matter? Why is reach significant? Why is it important to analyze the user signals that lean into the data? It's because we know that the percentage of people who drive the majority of your value, as Nick just talked about, come from the smallest minute percentage. It's like 2 to 5% of users are driving 85% of your revenue. And so machine learning is able to identify those users on the fly in real time and be able to optimize its strategy to be able to get your ads in front of those users at the moments and the times that matter to them. So I want to discuss further with you who we think those spenders are and who are your best players. The best way to describe this is to say that up until recently, marketing's been really a guessing game. Which signals are important to you? Where are your users coming from? How do I know which signal indicates that a user will likely take the action that I want them to take in the game? It's moving beyond the install. And so UAC constantly analyzes all these signals. There's something like 300 million different signals that Universal App Campaigns are measuring and optimizing off at any given time, at any split second that your campaign is live. And what Google's essentially trying to do with putting our machine learning capabilities in your hand is to try and get advertisers to focus more on the results that you care about instead of the tactics of how you got there. Let us handle the tactics so that you, again, can focus on thinking about the more strategic pillars in the marketing lifecycle, or even thinking about the inputs that you need to put into the machine in order to enable it to find the best users for you. I guess, again, like UAC basically is helping you get past the install. It's taking you into the game to find users that will engage, that will drive value, whether that's watching an ad, whether that's sharing on Facebook or on any other social network like YouTube, or whether that's, in fact, actually making a purchase. And so what we're seeing is that advertisers that are able to use UAC are able to drive many different KPIs, whether that's value-based, whether that's retention-based KPIs. But the goal is ultimately to have gamers who have a higher lifetime value. So we're able to help you find players that are likely to beat a level. In this instance, save a baby panda. So you may be the event that you might be optimizing towards may be someone that's shared in their social network that they saved a baby panda. And what are the organic implications from that? So what is the organic implication of one install that then shares to their social network? Or, again, find players that are likely to make a purchase. And I'll go into some specific tips about this in a moment. So 1 second while there we go. So Universal App Campaigns, as I said, simplifies the process for you, but it does not stop you from having full control of your marketing machine. Because really what you as marketers are now forced to do is think about the strategic inputs. So what are the right bids? What are the right goals for your campaign to optimize? And most importantly, in my opinion, the creative assets that you're putting into the machine. So let's talk about creative for one quick second. Creatives, now we used to think about all of our ads that we'd create. So who here ever used to run an AdWords search campaign? Yeah, lots of hands up there. You used to go in and you used to make multiple different ad variations to try and get your ads to have a high relevancy score, right? So you'd have different keywords in your ad, you'd try catchy titles, all of that. We believe now that you should be putting in assets. So thinking about this rather than being like, I'm putting in ads into my campaign, I'm putting in assets. And the more assets you're able to put in, the more likelihood that the machine is going to be able to figure out which of those assets is the right asset / combination of assets that we put with our templated ads to be in front of the user, to engage with them, to drive the install that's going to ultimately lead to the value that you're looking for. So in December, we launched playable ads. I know that a lot of other networks out there have playable ads. Google does too. It's a great tool for marketers and developers, and I'm seeing this with a lot of my partners as well. It's driving really high value users. It's driving great retention. And so we see this as being a really, really innovative ad format that the industry is sort of adopting. So there's sort of one form of creative that you can put in. There's also video and image creatives, and you can put in up to 20 of these, 20 images, 20 videos, 20 HTML5 ads if you actually have the resources to build that many ads, and 4 lines of text is all that you need. One interesting thing, and this is something that my team discovered mid-last year, is that vertical video, or as we call it, portrait video, so video in sort of a portrait format, is actually like the best performing creative that you can possibly have, right? Like one of my partners was seeing 60% conversion rate for the exact same ad unit that they had in landscape. So they had a video in landscape, a video in portrait, the exact same. And they were having a 60% conversion rate compared to an 8% conversion rate. Now, that's obviously the drastic edge, but we're seeing basically like a 20 to 30% uplift in conversion rate for people using portrait video. And as time goes on, these campaigns aren't static. We're adding new formats and we're adding new placements to our universal app campaigns every single quarter. So I believe at GDC there'll be some announcements around new placements and formats. But we also know that there's not one type of KPI that matters, which is why we actually have 3 types of universal app campaigns that you can run. So there's the standard CPI, which is basically driving your installs and your cost per install. The way the campaigns are designed is they're always designed to find you the next most efficient install action or value, essentially. The CPA campaigns are designed to drive exactly that, a cost per action. And it's your role as marketers to help guide the machine to the actions that matter to you. And then value, which I'll get into in a moment. But first of all, let's just focus a little bit on TCPA. So in the old paradigm, we'd basically all bid for an install and hope that that user would eventually become a payer. What we're seeing now with a lot of developers who are embracing this TCPA, a lot of gaming developers are actually trying to drive for a purchase or a first-time purchase. And obviously, they have to bid significantly more than that. So an example is for Panda Pop, it might actually be bidding for a user who makes an in-app purchase for some rainbow bubbles. But that doesn't mean that that's the only thing that it can be optimizing towards. They might also want to be optimizing, as I said, to share that they saved a baby panda because they understand the value and the implications of an organic, of a paid download on organic downloads or future installs. The universal app campaign, as I said, will automatically bid across all channels to acquire users who are likely to complete that event in the most cost-effective way. So if you're bidding $100, that does not mean that the machine is going out to get you $100. It's going to try and average the price out for you at $100, but the reality is it's probably going to come in significantly cheaper because it's actually designed to go out and find you the next most cheapest event. So you start looking at that and looking at, as I said before, what are the inputs into the machine? What bid is the right bid for you? Is it the actual real bid? Or if you actually bid slightly more aggressive than you need, can the machine be far more efficient? If you put in the right creatives and increase your conversion rate, can the machine for the same bid enter you into a better quality auction? So it's all, as I said, it's all about the inputs. But for many of you, events and conversions might not tell the full story. It's not just about making a first purchase or completing a level. It's ultimately about the revenue that each of these installs is driving for you. And so that's why, in addition to setting a TCPA, our universal app campaigns, our UACs, will soon give you the ability to bid on a target ROAS, which is exactly what it is. It's designed to get you a certain percentage of return per install by a set date range. So if you set a D, 7, 20%, the campaign will optimize to find users who are likely to make a purchase value that will essentially deliver you your target ROAS. And so the summary, I guess, is that it's built to understand how valuable your users actually are. And then it goes out and tries to bid as effectively as it can to deliver a return on ad spend by a certain date range based on that. So if a user's worth $10, it might bid $5 for you to get that user, whereas if a user's worth $1 to you, based on all of the things that the machine understands about the value of your users, it might only be bidding 50 cents for you. So just to recap, the game has changed, if I haven't said that enough already. It's no longer about installs. Installs are still an important component of the entire marketing strategy, but they're not where the majority of advertisers are spending their dollars. User journeys are more complex than ever, and with competition increasing, you need to be able to pinpoint those better users as quick as possible. Machine learning and UAC obviously can help you with that, because we're taking all of the guesswork out of figuring out your targeting, out of figuring out which keywords to bid on, and you know, which auctions to enter in and which auctions not to enter in. We're able to help you find the value in all of your gamers, whether that be through any one of our 3 universal app campaign bidding mechanisms that we have. And then there's a range of tips and tricks to really unlock the full potential of these campaigns, whether it's maximizing the asset mix that you're actually uploading into the campaigns, selecting the right bidding strategies and the right bidding mix. So it might be that in any given market of geos, you are running, you know, 35% of your budget is install based to try and drive volume at a cheap install, and the other 65% of the budget may be split between value campaigns and TCPA campaigns. So it's not just like a one-size-fits-all strategy for every game. And then the final tip I would give you is that these are machine learning campaigns, and our technology is getting better and better every day, and we're seeing this with our advertisers and with the partners that my team works with. One of the best tips that I can give you is to give the machine a bit of time. It is, as I said, analyzing over 300 million signals at any point in time to try and find patterns in the right types of users for you. And if you're in the campaigns kind of making changes like every 10 minutes, every day, changing the budgets, changing the bids, you're kind of not letting it kind of get into its pattern and figure out what's working and what's not working. And if you have any questions at all about this or campaigns that you may be running or apps that you want to launch or anything, I'm here till Thursday. But if you can't track me down, I'm pretty sure that this will be on the website. I know I'm on the website, so you can just email me and my team, and we'll be able to help you and get set up to make sure that you can make the most of this technology and free up your time to do the things that you actually need to be doing to grow your business. All righty. I think we have time for questions.
What's like the minimum budget on a campaign that you start seeing useful patterns and data in?
Yeah, it really depends on the type of campaign and the type of bid. So my team's done a fair bit of analysis on the type of patterns that are working within campaigns in terms of bids and budget. Generally speaking, for an install campaign, you want to try to be able to drive at least 50 installs a day. If you can drive 50 installs a day, the campaign can ramp up quickly. So if you've got a $5 bid, you might want to have a budget of 50x that. With TCPA, you're probably looking to try and drive somewhere in the vicinity of 20 to 30 conversions a day. The more conversions that you can get up front, the quicker the machine's able to optimize, and so that sort of efficiency curve kind of gets there quicker. So it depends on the different types, but yeah, I would say anywhere from sort of 50 times your CPI and 20 times your CPA is what we've been telling our partners and seeing success with.
Okay, well, if no more questions, Dan, thank you very much. Big round of applause for Dan.